Androgens are male-like hormones that are produced in the body for a number of different biological functions. Women who live with PCOS produce an excess amount of androgenic hormones, and these excess androgenic hormones produce a myriad of troublesome symptoms. If you are wanting to know more about androgen excess and how this affects your PCOS, keep watching. Hi, I'm Sam. I am a clinical nutritionist with a special interest in PCOS. Each week, I'm bringing you simple, actionable nuggets of information about PCOS and how you can support your symptoms naturally using the Nourished Natural Health PCOS repair protocol. Now, let's dive in. Excess androgenic hormones in the body produce a myriad of pesky and overwhelming symptoms for those living with PCOS. These symptoms include hair loss, facial hair growth, acne, and irregular menstrual cycles that can lead to infertility. You can get short-term relief from your excess androgenic symptoms so that you can focus on treating the root cause of your PCOS. Because in the start of our journey, we really want to see quick wins in treatment so that this can give you the motivation to keep going. In this video, we're going to talk about the Nourished Natural Health Anti-Androgen plan. Now, you won't need to follow the steps in this plan forever. Again, this is just to provide you with some quick relief whilst we take the time to deal with the root cause of your PCOS. The first step in the best-selling PCOS book written by Tamika Woods, who is the head of Nourished Natural Health, is to block the effect of excess androgens. The reason why this is step one is to provide relief from your symptoms so that we can dig deeper and find the root cause of your PCOS. Following these daily rituals will provide you with short-term relief whilst we work on your individualized plan. So first, how do you know if you have excess androgens? Now, it's common to have a blood test run when you first get checked for PCOS, and in these tests, they do check for testosterone. If you have had this test recently, it may come back as a higher than usual result. So many women that we've worked with here at Nourished Natural Health have had testosterone results that are either normal or on the lower side, yet they still show all the signs and symptoms of excess androgens. There's a few reasons for this. Firstly, testosterone is difficult to measure in your blood, and a blood test will only measure the testosterone that is circulating in your body. But what it doesn't measure is the testosterone that is built up in your tissues. For example, excess estrogen can get into your hair follicles. This can cause acne, facial hair growth, and even thinning of the hair or losing your hair on your head. Testosterone is the most common androgen, which is why it is the most commonly tested. However, your excess androgenic symptoms may be driven by another androgen hormone, like DHEA, which is commonly raised when you experience significant stress. Lastly, a testosterone blood test doesn't take into account the activity of your enzymes. One significant enzyme in your body when it comes to PCOS and androgenic excess is 5-alpha reductase. This enzyme works to convert testosterone into the more potent androgen DHT. Like testosterone, DHT gets into the hair follicles and produces facial hair growth, acne, and hair loss. This means that your body is far more efficient at converting testosterone into the more potent DHT, which is driving symptoms that are triggered by excess androgenic levels. Again, this isn't going to be picked up if a blood test only tested for excess testosterone. So in saying all of this, the best way to see if you have excess androgens is to have a look at your symptoms. The first is acne, specifically acne that is along the chin, the jawline, the upper lip, on your neck, your chest, and your back. The next is thinning hair around the crown of your head or a widening part along the crown of your head. This also includes a receding hairline. And the next common symptom is excessive hair growth, particularly around your chin, neck, jawline, chest, breasts, or back. Now, let's talk about the 3-step anti-androgenic plan. Each day, we want you to focus on these 3 simple steps that will reduce your symptoms, help elevate your energy, and reduce your sugar cravings. Step number 1 is to drink 2 cups of spearmint tea every day. Step number 2 is to enjoy a PCOS repair breakfast. And step number 3 is to take an anti-androgenic supplement, like our best-selling supplement, Androgen Blocker Plus, that has been specifically formulated with high-level ingredients to battle excess androgenic levels in those living with PCOS. Spearmint tea has been shown to lower androgen levels in those living with PCOS. In a randomized control trial, drinking 2 cups of spearmint tea for 30 days showed a lower level of testosterone in the blood. It also showed an improved ratio from LH to FSH hormones. The control trial also found that drinking 2 cups of spearmint tea per day significantly reduced abnormal hair growth, or what we refer to in clinic as hirsutism. Now, at this point, peppermint tea has not been studied, and it's best to not get the two confused. When you're out shopping looking for your tea, make sure that it is spearmint. It can be loose leaf or tea bags, both work fine. Your goal is to get 2 cups per day, and you can get creative with this. You don't always have to have your tea hot. You can create your own iced spearmint tea. You can also put the tea in ice cube molds and make spearmint tea ice cubes. This is such a refreshing way to have your spearmint tea and to spice up your water a little bit. Why not? Another really creative way to use your iced spearmint tea is to use it as a base of a smoothie. And you can use this instead of milk. Now, this perfectly brings me into the second daily ritual for lowering androgenic excess, and that is to enjoy a PCOS repair breakfast. More than any other meal that you consume throughout the day, your breakfast can either drastically improve or worsen your PCOS symptoms. So it's best to pay attention. Simple tweaks can significantly reduce your sugar cravings and improve your energy levels throughout the day. Eating a PCOS repair breakfast also boosts your metabolism. This will help you get to a healthy weight range, and it helps to lower the production of androgens. Before I tell you more about a PCOS repair breakfast, let's have a look at usual breakfast meals. Things like cereal, toast, fruit, and oatmeal. Now, what all these breakfasts have in common is that they are high in carbohydrates and low in protein. Now, this glucose that's broken down in the body when you eat the carbohydrates need to be stored in your cells so that they can be used for energy later on in the day. And the hormone insulin is responsible for getting that glucose out of your bloodstream and into your cells. Now, in a normal situation, insulin would unlock the cell and allow the glucose to rush in. However, in women living with PCOS, the chances of this happening normally are quite small. And this is because up to 80% of women living with PCOS also have insulin resistance. Essentially, what this means is that insulin isn't opening up your cells properly to allow the glucose to be stored into the cell. Insulin resistance has some hallmark symptoms like weight gain, particularly in the abdominal section, acne, and irregular cycles. Now, because the insulin isn't working and unlocking the cell, the glucose is staying in the blood. And because the glucose is staying in your blood, the body keeps producing insulin to try and get the glucose out of the bloodstream. This leaves us with high levels of glucose and insulin in the bloodstream. Essentially, high levels of insulin in the bloodstream go on to tell your ovaries to produce more testosterone. This leads to those pesky PCOS symptoms that we've been talking about in this whole video. It also makes it extremely hard for you to achieve a healthy weight range. Now, when insulin resistance has gone on for a really long time, it's very common for your body to produce a very high amount of insulin in response to a carbohydrate heavy meal. This huge amount of insulin that the body has to produce in order to open up the cells causes a huge crash in blood sugar. This is because the blood sugar is now being entered into the cell extremely quickly in order to make up for that resistance. Now, this sudden drop in blood sugar can cause you to feel jittery, tired, moody, and even hungry for the rest of the day. It can also cause really low energy pretty soon after eating. This drop in blood sugar is called hypoglycemia, and it is very common in those living with PCOS. If you are already eating a high carbohydrate, low protein meal for breakfast, you might find yourself really hungry within a couple of hours after eating, or reaching for stimulants like sugar and caffeine in order to give you energy throughout the rest of the day. This is why some people can eat an ultra healthy breakfast, which is yogurt, banana, strawberries in a smoothie, and simply put, it is because that kind of breakfast just doesn't work for those living with PCOS. In order to eat a breakfast that supports your PCOS body, we need to be aiming for 30 to 40 grams of protein in your breakfast. So unlike carbohydrates, a high protein breakfast in the morning is one of the best things that you can do to stabilize your blood sugar throughout the remainder of the day. Protein-rich foods don't cause a huge spike in blood sugar levels. This means that the body doesn't have to work very hard to release a huge amount of insulin to regulate those levels. Protein is also the most satiating macronutrient, which means it keeps you fuller for longer. meaning you can avoid those hunger spells that attack right after breakfast. When you follow these principles of eating 30 to 40 grams of protein, coupled with low starchy veg for breakfast, you will stay full for up to 3 to 4 hours after eating. Now, if you do feel like you're hungry after eating breakfast still, you may benefit from adding some healthy fats to your plate. Now, when we're talking about non-starchy vegetables, we're talking about things like sweet potato, kale, asparagus, and not things like wheat or legumes. So think of oats, bread, chickpeas, lentils. We want to be avoiding all of those kinds of things so that we don't interrupt that balance of insulin in the body. When it comes to fruit, you can look at low sugar fruits. Specifically, berries have a fantastic anti-inflammatory effect. They're not too high in sugar and they're high in fiber. So these are fine to add. However, we do advise that you avoid other fruits at breakfast just so that we can give your blood sugar levels a fighting chance of being stabilized for the whole day. Now, don't worry, you're not cutting out these foods out of your diet. You're just not having them at breakfast. You can have them later on in the day. Now, for this early on in the treatment, we just want to focus on the breakfast. We're not going to worry about the other meals just yet because getting your breakfast under control will have the most impact on the rest of your day. Here at Nourished Natural Health, we want you to start feeling alive again as soon as possible. And in order to do that, we really have to focus on your breakfast. Now, if you're really struggling to hit that protein level of 30 to 40 grams at breakfast, we recommend starting smaller at about 20 grams and working up from there. Don't forget, you can also look into protein powders. We have a full video talking about protein powders for PCOS. Some other great ways of getting protein into your breakfast is to look at things like sausages, eggs, and even leftovers from the night before. Now, collagen is specifically a fantastic supplement to add in the morning as it includes 10 to 20 grams of protein, and it is also significantly healthy for your skin. The Nourished Natural Health Inner Beauty Collagen Peptides are perfect to have at breakfast time. To improve your intake of low starchy vegetables at breakfast is to focus on vegetables that grow above the ground. One way that really helps is to have a protein smoothie and using frozen cauliflower to thicken it up. You can also replace the toast that you usually have with your eggs with something like kale or asparagus or other leafy greens. And if you're finding this breakfast overwhelming, try mixing up your protein sources so they're not all coming from the same item. And remember, you can start small and build up from there. A really good example of this is eggs. It would take 4 to 5 eggs to reach your protein target. Instead, you could have 3 eggs and a scoop of collagen powder in your iced spearmint tea, or you can have a protein smoothie as a drink on the side. So mixing up the sources makes it easier to get that high volume of protein in first thing in the morning. You won't need to eat this much protein throughout the rest of your day, but it is just really important to start your day with a huge amount of protein so that we can stabilize those blood sugar levels. And getting your breakfast habits down packed actually helps you to improve the rest of your dietary habits. This is why we start here. So let's sum up the PCOS repair breakfast. First, we're looking at 30 to 40 grams of protein. We're looking to avoid grains, starchy veg, and legumes or beans. We're opting for low sugar fruits like berries. We don't want to include any sugars or sweeteners like honey or even artificial sweeteners. We want to add some healthy fats like nut butters or coconut milk, and we want to make sure that we include plenty of non-starchy veg. So that's mostly veg that grows above the ground. Now, you want to make sure that you are eating your breakfast within about an hour of waking up. However, if you do like to work out in the morning, we suggest having a small snack before you work out and then having your PCOS repair breakfast after. Now that we've covered the PCOS repair breakfast, let's talk about daily ritual number 3, which is to take an androgen blocking supplement. Now, this step is optional as the first 2 steps will go a long way in providing relief for your symptoms. However, for faster results, we do suggest taking a supplement. We do always recommend that you consult your primary care physician before you start a new supplement regime. There are many herbs and supplements that you can take that will block androgen production in your body. To name a few, we have saw palmetto, which is able to reduce the 5-alpha reductase enzyme that's responsible for converting testosterone into DHT. Next is reishi mushroom, which blocks DHT conversion in the skin and hair follicles, which reduces excess hair growth. Next is stinging nettle leaf. So stinging nettle leaf increases sex hormone binding globulin. SHBG goes around and mops up excess androgens in the blood. And lastly, we have zinc, which is so important for reducing acne and to help with wound healing of any acne scars. When using a combination of these herbs and vitamins, we have seen fantastic results here at Nourished Natural Health. And whilst these results are brilliant, taking a handful of pills every day can be kind of exhausting. So that's why we have our best-selling Androgen Blocker Plus supplement. This is a single capsule which contains the ideal ratio for all the herbs and vitamins listed that will help to block excess androgens. It's convenient and it is only one daily dose. Another great supplement for those living with PCOS is inositol, which you may have heard about before. Now, inositol has a similar structure to B vitamins, which has been studied at length for its impact on regulating menstrual cycles. It also increases insulin sensitivity, promotes ovulation, and helps to enhance egg quality. So if you struggle with irregular cycles and you're planning on getting pregnant, inositol is probably right for you. At Nourished Natural Health, we do also have an inositol supplement that has been formulated with the right ratio for those living with PCOS. It is a 40:1 ratio of myo-inositol and chiro-D-inositol. This is a similar ratio to what's found in the human body. A 2017 study compared the 40:1 inositol ratio with metformin and found that the inositol group had significantly more weight loss and they had restarted ovulation. And this goes on to natural pregnancy. Inositol has very few side effects. It's also safe to take during pregnancy and whilst you're breastfeeding. You can also take inositol alongside metformin, and this is because it works in different ways to improve your insulin sensitivity. Implementing these 3 steps is your first step in managing your PCOS. This is because reducing androgenic excess helps to give you a break from pesky PCOS symptoms. And once you have a break from those symptoms, this gives you the energy to go on and dig deeper and to find the root cause of your PCOS. Now, if you do need help doing that, you can go to the Nourished Natural Health website where we have a free quiz that you can take to find out what the root cause of your PCOS is. Whilst you're there, you should also check out the Androgen Blocker Plus supplement and join our sisterhood, where you can connect with like-minded women from all over the world who are all managing their PCOS. What have you tried to reduce your androgenic excess? Have you been told you have normal androgen levels, but yet you still suffer from the symptoms? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear about your experience. Also, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on the next video. My name is Sam, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!